Alright, is my mic going? I think it's going. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone in their nice Saturday? They got finished paying off some stuff and then caving into my desires to pre-order that upcoming Zara figure. I was really new because I was gonna buy it, the one off of the website connected to the actual business that are like selling it. But as far as I could see, like you had to, oh, and I got the volume going in my my background. I had to mute the stream. I ended up having to get it through like a third party through eBay, because when I was getting up the site, like they're only listing in the like different prefectures of Japan, so I had to spend like get like extra 100 or so per ordering this thing. It isn't so bad because like I've been wanting a Zara figure for a long time. I've been complaining about it, and then they finally make one, so like I can't, like I gotta put my money up when stuff like that happens. So pretty stoked for that. I mean, plus I just did my taxes, so it's not like I don't, you know, have this set up to give myself some form of small reward. But I have been trying. I've been trying really hard to not spend as much money lately. Like I really wanted to start like saving a lot more, and then they're like, hey, guess what? Like all these figures coming out, and like I already have like a Natsu one, so I was like, this one, like the one that they're making, like isn't as hype, but at the same time, like I still want it, but I only just want it because it's like a fairy tale one. The ones though that I definitely have on my like watch list, I got the Zareth one and then the Jalal one, but all the other ones I'd rather wait and get like more hype ones, because there are some like other, like there's the Gajo Wendy one I really want, there's like a Lucy with Aquarius one I really like, but the Zareth one, like Zareth was the only other character besides like Natsu I really wanted a good one of, and this is like the best one we have so far. Hopefully we can get more in the future. But yeah, let me get some of the comments real quick as I'm setting up the you know, the stream and telling, you know, sending out links to different spots to be like, hey, come hang out, come do stuff. I wasn't too sure what time I wanted to stream, but my plan is, because RTL Faith is doing a stream after this in like a little under 2 hours, so I figured I would stream here and then afterwards bring people over there, you know, to help one boost the numbers, but also kind of like follow up in it. And plus he pushed it back 2 hours, so I was like, I'm not gonna wait until after his stream because it's already too late at night. Let me get some comments. What's up, Lovely Leech? How's it going? Jared Punch, Demons everywhere. Yeah, but not enough dragons, my guy. Noel, God, Lucy. I mean, Lucy can summon like a celestial king from another world. Noelle doesn't have anything kind of close to that. I mean, like the most that she has is, you know, the sea dragon sword. That's just a big water, like big splash of water shaped like a dragon. Not even a real dragon. Izzy Kaminari, how's it going? I going from like 20 minutes late to literally the first one. We're super close today. I told you, like, normally I try and stream a little bit later. Like, I used to stream it this time, and then I kind of pushed it back. I just like kind of like the later in the evening streams, but I decided to do it earlier because it ended up aligning with RTL's stream. So I figured it would just be better for my setup and his setup if we did it like this. Hassan Mohammed, how's it going? How are you today? The dramatic music is great. That's my Karazhan theme, man. I know, right? I agree, Lovely Leech. It'll be sad when they downgrade Lucy. So I don't think it's gonna be the same as like an outright downgrade. I think it's gonna be like one of those things, kind of like like after the Elf Resurrection arc in Black Clover, how you had the members that had turned into elves still have like aspects of like the memory, like their bodies could remembered bits of like what their power was like in that elf state. So Lucy, I'm guessing, will be like, oh, you know, I have this potential if I can just get spiritual in it, because they didn't really do much to her magic. It was the spiritual power on top of it, on top of like the yokai stuff. So she already can, you know, she can achieve this. Like, this is something that's fully set that she can grow up to. And like, we're still pretty early into Ellen tier. We don't know all of their Ellen tier general boosts of magic, so it's still something that we're, you know, we got some time to get to. It's gonna be a bit, and Lucy's just kind of demonstrating a level of potential that she can have. I mean, on top of like her general strength, I mean, the fact that she pushed Natsu into going to Lightning Flame Dragon mode is huge. I mean, right now Natsu is treating her with the same level of like combat severity as he did with Iron Shadow Dragon Gajo. Hey Rex, how's your weekend going? It's going good. Irene in July. It's a nice Saturday. I slept a little longer than I wanted to, but I mean, like, Saturday is usually my day of sleep, so I'm not complaining too much, because tomorrow's Shonen Jump chapter days, so even if I end up going to sleep early. Like, I have a set time I want to get up so I can get the chapters out. And then I don't know how I did it. Somehow I altered how my videos are recorded in OBS to like a different format. I think that's why they take longer to upload. But I don't know. I don't really mind as much. But at the same time, it means I have to get them earlier so they can get uploaded. And then I gotta remember to do Undead Unluck and Phantom Seer this week, because I forgot last week. And then by the time it was already a little too far in, I was like, I'll just do a double chapter this week. Plus, like, the both chapters were like they were more fast paced, and like to the kind of note that I would have ran out of stuff to talk about like 5 to 6 minutes in. So I'm just gonna do double chapters for those ones. It's a huge change for Lucy development. I'm really excited to see like what's gonna go on with like her and Aquarius. Like, what exactly is like Mishima planning with that? Because that was a really weird surprise, but it makes a lot of sense. The fact that she can, like, we know that she can summon spirits without keys now. While they're in Ellen tier, but also they can summon themselves. And assuming Aquarius never broke her contract with Lucy, then it makes perfect sense why she can do it. Because we do know that she's been able to use her Aquarius dress and like Aquarius dress abilities while holding on to the while still having the broken key. So that contract is still there. She just can't summon Aquarius herself, not regularly. Like, the last time was because her key reformed somewhere in the world, so she, like, just had a moment where she could, come out and interact with Lucy and Brandish. But here, it's completely different, because the key is irrelevant. The broken key is irrelevant to Lucy right now. Which is one of the reasons I think that Lucy's going to be able to summon the Celestial Spirit King, because he doesn't have a key, and keys don't matter to Lucy right now. Completely irrelevant, and she's strong enough that, like, she could do it. Same one, a Levy figure. Oh yeah, I don't think they have a Levy figure in this set that they just made, which is unfortunate. Like, Levy's one of those ones that like I can see like people wanting, because Levy's actually a fairly popular character, but she's like at that level where she would get a figure if they work past all of the like the primary, like the big villains, the main cast, someone like Jalal, like they already have. That's kind of like important but adjacent to the main cast. So it's like if I wanted to get like I love Margear. Like, Margear is one of my favorite antagonists in the series, but the chances are of me getting like a good Margear figure is very low. He was only in one arc, and but at the same time, his arc, he was really popular in the arc because people really like Margear, like in general. Like, he's still regarded as like one of the upper antagonists in the series. But I feel like his overall like height value, like, people would rather go for the obvious like Echnologia and Zareth, and then probably even go for like Irene and stuff before they end up getting to Margear. They probably actually get to like the Tower of Heaven Jalal before they get to Margear. I don't know which is best, Christina or the Eden's one. The Eden's one, Christina is like, the Christina ship is a little goofy looking. The first one is goofy. The second one is a lot cooler. But at the same time, it's just like, you have a badass big spaceship that's in shape of like an ancient type of fish versus like a, I don't know, horse, well, in that case, Pegasus ship. I'm gonna pick the sick spaceship instead. Easy. Yeah, I love Leash. I only have a couple figures. Like, I have my Natsu one. I have a couple like smaller figures, like probably like the ones you probably get at like the store or something that are like $40 to $50, and then I got like a couple nicer ones. Like, I got a Laxus one. I got like one, a Blackluster Soldier. The Zareth one I just bought is the last one I'm gonna buy for a while, because I have a Urza one on the way, and then I have the Zareth one I just pre-ordered. They said it'll be here, I think, like mid-March. But that's the last one I'm gonna get for a bit, because I like I said, I've been trying to spend less money, but at the same time, like, it's all been aligned in like the area of like certain things that I was really hyped about, and there's no way that they could release a Zareth figure and like me not buy it, because I really want it. And pre-ordering it now, and I think they said they're only gonna make like 300 or something, at least in pre-order. So pre-ordering it now versus like later, I feel like later it's gonna be more expensive until like they drop a better figure that like people want more of. But then at that point, I'm gonna want the better figure. I think Lucy will be able to keep a bit of the power she has. I think it's gonna, like I said, I think she's going to feel like the general like memory of how powerful she was in that state, and then work towards it. We need that Demon Slayer sword. What do you mean? Just like just in general? Have you heard hardcore leveling work? I have. I thought it was hardcore leveling hero. Is that a different series? Oh, let me read the super chat from the Anime Fan 99. Is it pounds? I forget all the time when it comes to it's pounds or euros. I know that one. Before anyone chuckles at me for not remembering the exact. But I mean, it's a Hi Rex. It's been a while. Oh, I got the audio playing. Anyway, yeah. It's been a while. How are you? Sorry that I've missed your recent streams. Glad I got to catch you live. That's all right, man. Like, the thing about, obviously, the streams, I like to post them, so, you know, if somebody misses them, they can listen in to try and figure out, like, if I mentioned anything they wanted to hear later, or they can prep up for whatever questions, you know, that you guys want to ask me during these streams. Because I mentioned it before to anybody who's newer to the streams, even if it's, like, the title mentions Fairy Tail, Black Clover, Eden Zero, and the picture is Fairy Tail, but, like, any series that I read, or any just general questions you want to ask me about, like, manga and stuff, you go ahead. Because it's more of a community stream, like I've said before. But yeah, thank you very much for the 5, either euros or pounds. I'll remember at some point. There's so many. It's really weird because there's so many different currency symbols. But at the same time, like if I know yen, but that's easy because yen is in the shape of a Y. But I don't know what the weird extra pieces are on it. Like why they did that. I don't know. Probably I guess really the dollar sign is just an S and then they put the 2 slashes in it. So I don't know where I'm complaining on that one. Either way, thank you very much for the super chat. Always appreciated. All super chats, donations, and anything of that category is always appreciated, like I said. Let's see. Yokai Carla, Happy Lucy, and Wendy are all improvements. The Wendy one, I'm very curious because they didn't show what her power was at this. Like, I'm wondering if it's just like maybe she's why they're like this. Like she can just buff cats somehow, which actually be really cool. I don't really know how, like, that would carry over into Wendy. Like, the thing with Lucy is that she's manipulating water. And I thought during the chapter twice, I messed up twice during the chapter, like, when I was talking about it, just from, just misinterpreting things. Because there was a part where I thought she was using acid, because she was, you know, a snake using liquid, and then it was like, oh, no, it's just water. And then there was a part where I thought she had water intangibility, like she could turn into water to, you know, dodge physical attacks. And then, again, that was just something that I misinterpreted while reading the chapter. But still, I mean, like, Lucy, like, damaging Natsu with water like this is still really impressive. But we know that Natsu isn't, like, if Natsu really wanted to, he could just body her, but he's not going to do that for obvious reasons. I'm more curious about why he doesn't try and just, like, evaporate all the water in there. But I feel like he's doing the best he can to beat Lucy with the absolute minimum level of force possible because he doesn't want to hurt her, like, in a serious way. But yeah, the stuff with Wendy, like, I'm very curious to know, like, what aspects of these transformations are going to carry over and maybe, like, lead to further improvements. Because with Lucy, I would guess it's more going to be towards just, like, gaining spiritual power in general. Like, just gaining the spirit art abilities. Where I don't think she's going to, like, be like, man, I really want to turn into a snake again. But, like, Wendy's is very confusing just from the fact, like, I get, like, why. You know, why they went with this design, obviously, like, paired her up with 2 cats. But like, how is that going to, like, I feel like that hers isn't going to carry over into a general improvement of her power. I feel like it'll just be kind of, you know, leading further into her higher level Enchantress abilities. But we'll see. Lammy and Lucy x Lamy and Lizana. That'd be a really weird set if Lizana was here too, and not just fighting all these snake chicks. I don't think Urza and Wendy will need to, since their yokai forms already gave them spiritual power. Yeah, but, like, afterwards, I would assume that whenever they fix the problem that they're in these forms, that they're going to lose the spiritual power that's put into them. I mean, they could keep it, for all we know. It's, like, way more for me if any of these forms are going to steer them in the direction of where their, like, you know, leveled up improvements are going to be. You know, that's just kind of a weird, you know, the weird aspect of these that I'm wondering about. Because with Lucy, it can make sense. Because Lucy, you know, Lucy does have water manipulation abilities with her, like, you know, Aquarius Key, Star Dress. But Wendy's is just, like, really weird, you know, in her cat form, buffing up these cats. But, I mean, it could literally just be, like, she just maybe gains, like, some form of monstrous buff to where she can, like, you know, enhance Carla or really any animal or maybe spells. Actually, that would be really cool. Like, imagine if Wendy could buff, like, specific spells. Like, you know, if Natsu used, like, a plain roar, but she buffed it, and it's, like, on the degree of, like, his Fire Dragon King, roar. Or maybe, like, you know, anything to that degree where she can kind of just be like, alright, this spell is now at a higher status. Kind of like when Irene went into her dragon form, she went from high enchanting to master enchanting. if Wendy could kind of do that same concept with people's spells in general, I think that would actually be really cool. Because Wendy can fight, but her level of utility as a support mage is like way above her fighting capabilities. Like, she still can fight, she can still hold her own, but like if we came down to it and said, we need you for this role because or this role, you're gonna pick the support role because her support capabilities are amazing. Like, Wendy is legitimately one of the best support characters like you can get, because she actually can hold her own if something kind of comes down to it. It's not like, oh, we just have to go right for the support character, because most support characters like that, when you have a healer or a buff person, are frail. But the fact that she's a dragon slayer and she actually has like a lot of good durability and fighting feats shows that like Wendy would just be able to, you get up in her face and she's gonna try and fight back, or she's gonna do some crazy other enchantment or debuff, or that too. Actually, she could start getting debuffs. Because, like, Wendy has, like, her status effects, and she could cancel out debuffs and stuff, but I don't think she has any debuffs that she can put onto people. Like, if she can cut somebody's speed or attack. I know she can cancel out their, like, obviously their own their own buffs and like, forms and whatnot. But, like, if somebody's like, alright, this, I put, I'm gonna go fight Wendy, and then Wendy's like, alright, I put this enchantment on you, your speed is cut in half, or something like that. That'd be really cool. Let's see what's going on to happen after current Eden Zero arc. I'm guessing this is what's going to lead into Poseidon taking note of them, because now like these guys have just caused this ruckus. I believe he's primarily going to blame Ziggy, and Shiki being connected to Ziggy is going to draw his attention. I would assume. Plus all the stuff going on with gravity, like the whole stuff with Xeno talking about dark gravity. And I was talking to Quan Credible about that chapter, because something I didn't notice until I just went back and looked, just because I feel like the first time I saw it, it was just one of those like statements that could easily be glossed over, is that the text on Shura said that he was a dark gravity user, and we know that Xenolith talked about dark gravity being completely different than something like when he said true gravity. So Shura, I would imagine, is going to be down that line. Like, he's going to be the one that leads us into finding out what exactly is different about dark gravity versus true gravity. Really weird stuff. Like, people were saying how like they got a real strong like Star Wars The Force vibe from it. Like, you have the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. I kind of felt that too. And Eden Zero being, a bit of a space fantasy drama, like makes me so happy just in that aspect, because the Disney trilogy destroyed Star Wars for me. I can't really watch Star Wars, I can't watch anything outside of the original 6, and then I guess maybe like Rogue One, but like anything really kind of like beyond that point, I can't really just watch anymore, just because I know where it leads to. It's kind of like trying to rewatch Game of Thrones. It's just like that where it goes just is so busted and sad for me. I don't even really bother. But like Eden Zero is able to fill that gap for me. Let's see. My man Xena is the coolest 100% form. Dante's, I think Dante's, if you white out the eyes, you don't show his pupils, he looks way cooler than, with it. His 100% form panel, when it shows all of them, his definitely looks really weird, like in comparison to the other ones. But then you see like some of the other angles, and he looks badass. I don't know. That was a really weird one for me. I can definitely see people liking Xenon's way more, because, I mean, they have this sick skeletal like design to it. His looks really badass, and I like the bladed like weird plates on his back. I think that's my favorite part about his design, just because it's one of those added extra touches to give it a unique feel to it. Lucy gets stronger to the point where she can summon. Yes, we were just talking about that. I hope that too on Urza and Jalal figures. They're there. Like the Urza one, there's Urza figures out there, but I don't think, at least from what I saw and what I've seen, like, prior to this one that just released, there was a Jalal figure. Zareth was the only one there's the only one out of them besides Jalal, also, that I'd be willing to kind of just outright buy, because the other ones, I want the fancier ones, where like, they have, like, the resin effects around them, where, like, I have one of Natsui's in its, like, Dragon Cry form, and it's got like the resin flames. I like stuff like that. Like the normal figures are cool, but I like, if I'm gonna spend that much money extra on a figure, I'm gonna spring for the bigger ones. Not like the crazy ones. I've seen some of the absurd ones, but the one I got is right about the one, the kind of stage that I would aim for. Dark Triad 100% look incredible. I really like him. I actually didn't notice Vonika's eye until like a good day or so after that the panels came out. Jujutsu Kaisen episode last night was hype. Man, I'm jealous how nice their animation looks. Like, I've been very happy with it, and I think that after stuff like Kimetsu no Yaiba and Jujutsu Kaisen, that people making the people who are in charge of setting up the animes, like whoever is at their corporate level that, you know, is looking at what company or what animation companies to put on these, I think they're being smarter now, because they know, like, Black Clover I think really was like Black Clover, Boruto, One Piece, and I think it's Case Closed are like the only big weekly like animes anymore. But the thing is, like, you don't have to have like an anime all year round in order to like drive the sales. You can just do a seasonal with hype animation and people jump all over that. And I think they're starting to figure that out. And it's one of those things that it seems really obvious to like us, like anybody like that is way more to the ground would be able to tell you. But somebody like way higher up on the chain, like at the, again, company corporate level, is probably not thinking about that. It's kind of like recently the whole stuff. I'm sure a lot of people here saw the stuff that was going on with like GameStop stocks and stuff with it was like that Robinhood company or whatever. Like, yeah, everybody involved in that. Like, if I was just in the room, or really anybody who's internet savvy when that was going down, could have just said, like, when they were trying to retaliate against the guys on Reddit, it's just like, do not. If you piss them off, they're gonna make it 10 times worse, and they're not gonna stop until you're broken. That's just one of those things. Like, you have somebody so high up, I feel like they just become so detached from the logic behind it. Because like, anybody here knows, if you're getting targeted by a giant internet group for some memes, just let it happen. Just let it finish. Don't try and fight back, because you're going to make it way worse. I mean, no, I doubt there's many people who are going to get targeted at like a ground level, like, you know, like one person, but like a company or something. You don't you don't want to draw the wrath of the internet, because there's way more of, you know, these smart internet hacking dudes than there are the old guys that are you know, they've got like 8 guys in their cybersecurity room at their company, you know. Yeah, British pounds. I get pounds and euros mixed up all the time. You know, clapping Wendy. I mean, wait, what? Are you talking about like start of series? You know, I mean, Wendy just kind of like backhands him. Arax, unless I missed. Oh yeah, so I already answered this, but just because like if this probably came out at some point and I glossed over. Oh, my cats are wrestling. I don't know if you can hear, they're aggressive, attacking each other in the back. But I just missed it. I just missed the review, and I was just like, I'm just gonna do a double chapter review for Phantom Seer and Undead Unluck this weekend. That was just mostly it. Like, I didn't have any like reason against the series or anything against the chapter. I just kind of got lazy and then missed it, and I was like, I'll just do 2. And like, if I did the chapter review, like the only thing I'd really have to talk about is the new antagonist. So I think it'll work better out, like from a point of going off about the series, whatever, you know, going off about whatever recent events will be, if I tie that into the next chapter. Because it was like the same thing with Undead Unluck. I mean, really, the last Undead Unluck chapter was mostly just like the last like 2 to 3 pages, and everything else was more of just kind of like hyping up to that scene. So don't worry, I'm not dropping Phantom Seer or anything like that. I'm not kind of just ignoring it for any reasons. It's more of just like, I just missed it, and I'm going to make up for it in the next chapter review. My problem is, like, what I'll do is, like, I'll do some of them, and then I'll be like, well, I'll do the rest later, and then I completely forget, and then it's like, oh man, it's like 8 something at night. I gotta wake up, and you know, because I usually like, get up for work at like 3:30, so like I try and go to bed on like a Sunday. Like, I try and pass out hopefully by like 9 o'clock, or not 9 o'clock, but like 9:30, and then, you know, whatever stuff I gotta do before then, it's like, well, I can either get whatever I need to prep for tomorrow, or I can do these reviews. And sometimes I'll do them in the morning on Mondays, but I wasn't able to get to it Monday morning this week. But I will get to it. It's the same thing why I didn't have a Black Clover predictions video this week. And I'm fine with that one, because like I wouldn't have seen this coming at all. Like the only part I would have really been able to kind of say, like, I think this will happen, was the whole 100% thing with the Dark Triad, because we were talking about that recently, and it makes sense with the gate open. But the rest of the stuff, nah, I wouldn't have called that at all. Anyway, Light from HL, I don't know what HCLW? I don't know what that is. What does that stand for? It's probably one of those ones that I'll understand way more if you just, Like, it's one of those ones that I'll probably be like, oh, yeah. But I don't know what HCLW is. Versus UO? Or do you mean you know? I'm very confused on that one. Bark, Dark. I was so confused for like a half moment reading your name because I assumed it was going to be Bardock. If we're going by Star Wars theme for Eden Zero, I predict Xeno training Shiki. I'm really hoping that too, because he took the body of him I guess the machine portion of him, and he seemed to like drop down and almost like he slipped out of that machine, kind of like what Wall can do in Fairy Tail, how he can put his brain, like his mind, inside of a proxy robot. And I would imagine if anytime he wants, he can just drop out of it, go to a different one. That's essentially how I view what happened with Xenolith. I would assume, and then maybe at some point he'll show back up in the robot body and he'll like teach Shiki something. Based on your retweets, I see we share political views. Now we agree that Rachel Valentine is best wife. I don't know about that. And like if we talk about just in Rave Master, oh man, what was her name? The ice chick, Jericho or whatever. I always really liked that chick. I wish she's one of those characters like I wish got introduced way earlier, or at least kind of got mentioned a couple times or shown, kind of like how Megiddo was, because Megiddo was part of that, Lucia's end series bad guy group, but he was shown a good chunk earlier. We got him a while ago. Oh, like a while prior to like the final arc. One second, I was texting RTL Fade. He said he's gonna stream like an hour, probably like a little under it. So what we'll do is, but prior to that, we'll probably shift over to his stream, and then if you guys want to help, pump numbers into his comments, we can harass him a little bit, maybe make some jokes, talk about why you should read whatever series we want to push. Build King. I'm really hoping that series can survive, because like the art and the story has been really fun, the world building. And I think the series just needs some good fights, some good action to show off that side of things. Because the manga, like the dude, his best traits, I'd say, are his world building, and he can make some badass fights. And he hasn't had any of those fights yet, and I think a lot of people are looking at more like the carpentry aspect of the series, and not the fact that it's, a battle adventure shonen, and the carpentry is just like a part to it. It's like, part of the theme. Let me see. Let me get some more comments. I don't want to get too far behind. Ellie's best waifu because Sheener. Oh yeah, don't spoil stuff. It's a secret. Oh, what was the letters though? Bardorg. Is only on his second win level. Minnie said he has higher levels. I know about the form ideas. I'm wondering if he gets other ones, if they're gonna have different, if they're just gonna be like higher levels, or if it's gonna be like they have different traits. That's kind of what I'm hoping more of. Instead of just, like, each one is better than the other, kind of like Super Saiyan. Because once you get to, like... Because now if he has Boreas, like, assume he has Boreas normally, then it's going to be like, well, what's the point of ever using Spirit of Zephyr if you can just go Boreas, and Boreas is this powerful? Whereas, like, maybe Boreas's thing... I don't really know, like, what would the trait be? Because I don't think we have anything special about Boreas right now, other than just, like, his general being more powerful. But I am kind of hoping it's more like that, because... Like I said, it's kind of like when Goku gets his lower forms, they're almost irrelevant. Like, Natsu's is different because Natsu likes to match whatever level he's against, but he's doing it from the sake of, like some of these fights. And Goku's is kind of like to a degree, but there's almost no difference between Goku's other than being more powerful. Like, Natsu gets different kind of traits to his as he's going up. And then obviously we know, like, Dragon Force is progressing differently. Like, eventually he'll become a dragon. Whereas, like, Goku, they're just different colors. I don't know, we'll see. I really like the idea, though, instead, if it'll be, like, his different wind forms will just be different weapons. And then that will just kind of be the setup for him, is maybe it's just different styles of how he's using his wind, rather than just one form is better than the other, or one form is just just whatever the small special trait is. I think, actually... If it maybe like if he had a bow version and every shot made like a tornado or something, like you remember his towering tornado move, something like that, where just every single shot, just when it lands, it just makes this massive maelstrom of wind below him. Actually, aren't maelstroms water? I don't know. You know what I mean, like a hurricane kind of setup. I don't know. We'll see on that one. Like I am very curious of what Tabata is doing with some of these forms, because we saw that Berserk form for Asta, but that's gonna be almost Like, that's going to go out the window when he's got Union. Like, we're never really going to see the Berserk form, which, again, I would assume. But it's a shame, because I do like the Berserk form. I really like it when characters have, you know, a badass, rageful form. Like, you get it on a series, like, you had Naruto had, like, the earlier QB forms. Ichigo had his hollow forms. Natsu's got the Aetherius form. Asta had his Berserk form. I do really like that trope. It's just one of those things that's always just so badass to see implemented, and you're always happy to see it. It's raw hype, pretty much. It's like, just like when you see the old guy, you know, he takes off his robe or shirt, and then instead he's jacked, and he's just a monster. It's just those, there's a couple of tropes that just never get old. They're always fun. Why doesn't Langris use his magic to bring Seki? He can stop Morris with ease. I'm actually really curious of what their plan is with Morris, because they have to stop Morris. Like, Morris is such a wild card problem in this. If they don't at least get him to stop accelerating the tree, then they're screwed. There's nothing they're going to be able to do. Because the thing about it is not just like he just opened one gate. It's like they're all going to come out so fast if Morris is left unchecked. And what are they, like, again, what are they going to do to fight back? Nothing. Don't Gotcha come to Spade like Thor came to Infinity War. There's still a lot of people that aren't present in the big battle. Like, we know Gotcha's not there. Noel's crew's not there. Austin, the Black Bulls and stuff aren't there. I still think the Witch Queen is going to show up, and a lot of people speculate Mars is going to show up, which Mars I really hope shows up. We haven't seen Mars in so damn long. Last time we saw Mars was at the end of the Witch's Forest arc, which was like, I think the last time we saw him was like chapter 100 or like 99 or something. We're at 280. Like, it's been almost 200 chapters since we've seen Morris, and obviously, like, in real time, that's what, like 3.5 to 4 years of not seeing Mars. When Xenolith told Shiki that gravity can surpass concepts, reminding me Natsu's goal in the series to attain fire that can burn anything. Yeah, Mishima, when Mishima gets crazy, like, he goes busted. Like, conceptual absurdity stuff, crazy time travel, and like dimensional threats. Like, Mishima's always been like wild like that when he gets his bigger stuff. Langris is offensive spatial magic, but he can't portal. I mean, he can just, the thing though is he can just aim for the floor and swipe. And it's kind of like I talked to somebody about like a couple chapters ago in One Piece when like they were trying to get up to the top to fight Kaido. Like, there was like a point where Luffy tried to go up there, and then it was like, I think King and Queen were like, you know, doing their jobs at keeping him away. And then so he's got to kind of like run upstairs of each floor. And I'm like, why don't you just jump straight up from inside the building? Like, if somehow you can't get past these guys in the air, which, I don't know, I felt like Luffy should have been fine beating them pretty easily. But if you can go inside and you're uninterrupted just running through the building and then going up the stairs, just jump through the floors. Literally just jump straight up. And it's not like that's going to do anything to them, because obviously a floor isn't going to do anything to these guys that literally are just busting a hole through it and jumping. Or literally, they don't even have to punch it. They can just jump, and their bodies will go through the floor, and they'll just go all the way up. It's just one of those things. It doesn't really matter, but it's like the same thing. Like, Langris can just like look at the ground and swipe, and then just go down the hole that he just makes. If Langris could do portals, he wouldn't have had Seki driving towards the crystal. I mean, yeah. Like, he's offensive spatial, whereas like Finral is like normal portals. I predict we get the time skip in Eden Zero. There might be a time skip after this arc. I don't really know, because we're in an odd place with obviously in the Ali Cosmos and everything going on right now, that like, if there was a time skip right now or sometime soon, it would have to be a short one. I don't think they could do a long time skip at the current set of things. You predict Ziggy and Nero fights? I think that too. I think it's going to be Shiki versus Shura and Ziggy versus Nero, and we're going to have a tag match. And I think that's going to be really hype. So, what's up, Tusk? How are you doing today? Have you seen Mishima's interview? Yeah, I have. I'm curious to know how he plans to do this moving forward. If he ends up like getting to a point where Eden Zero is like at an end, would he end up doing something like what he's doing with Fairy Tail and find another person to continue it if he wants to continue it and then do another series? Or would he end Eden Zero and then keep doing and then just kind of start this new series? It's kind of hard with Mishima. on some of these aspects, because like he's a very unpredictable guy when it comes to how much work he's willing to do in order to get content out to his fans, make more Demon Slayer videos. I mean, like I said, like I don't really have, like I don't really know what I would make I could only do character videos, but like none of the characters in Demon Slayer were that, like I didn't get attached to too many of the characters because the series was so short, and then like anytime the characters did a lot of stuff that I liked, they would either die or, you know, get brushed off or something. Like I was, oh my god, I forgot the dude's name. I think he was the Thunder Breath. Like he had the two swords. Like he obviously, like he was in one arc and then kind of, well, he was in previous arcs, but he was focused one arc, and then, you know, he got fucked up and he couldn't, you know, like he retired. And then the villains I really liked, they were set up to kind of continue and then didn't. Kokushibo got screwed. He only got the one fight and then lost. Man, I wish that there was a continuation with that too, because it's definitely a series I could talk about, but not something that I could do with like the current state of things. I think it may be me, but I'm kind of hoping that Grace is Natsu in his fight with Urza. No way, no. If Natsu does fight Urza, I want that to be one-on-one. I want to see like a normal Natsu versus Urza battle. Because this is like the only chance that we could get like a pretty fair Natsu versus Urza fight, because Urza is buffed up, and we know that in like a normal fight between them, Natsu is going to win. Natsu is way more powerful than her. Star Wars Rebels is a decent episode. So the thing is, like, I know like the Mandalorian, from what I've like seen and heard, is really hype, but knowing where it leads to just kind of bums me out a little bit. Oh no, so Dragonization is just like the process of becoming dragon-like. It's just like, you know, it's kind of like Bleach has hollowification. It's not like the name of the form, it's the process. Do you think that Shining Stars will let Wise improve and then with Machina Maker? I don't think it'll be a regular thing, like he's just going to be like their general upgrader, but it's something that is likely to happen eventually. But I don't think it'll be a normal thing. Do you think that oh wait, I read this one, I'm done. I'm so excited for Eden's anime. Oh yeah, the animation looks really nice. That's one of the things I'm super hyped about, but it also gives me hope for 100 Years Quest getting an anime. Robin Hood or scumbags. Yeah, they don't care. Like, they don't care about the people. It's just about making money. And the thing is, like, that bothers me with companies. It's like, I know, like, a lot of these companies, like, they're businesses. Like, they want to make money, but I just wish they would kind of be more open about it and not pretend like, oh, no, we're in it for everybody else, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you're not. Like, just, you know, be straight with us. That's the thing that bothers me more. Like, if a company is literally just like, hey, we're in it to, you know, prosper, make profit, and then, you know, do whatever we need to in order, you know, rise the company further and further. I'd be like, well, at least they're honest about it. They're not bullshitting like, we don't even really want to make money. We just want our customers to be happy. It's like, oh, you know, shut up. Yeah, Rex. Why do 2-3 chapters of time for Ghost? I gotta read that at some point. It's on my list. Don't worry. I've noticed it enough that it's. And there's, I mean, it's on the Shonen Jump app, so I can read it. I have officials, so I'm gonna get to it eventually. It's on my list. Don't worry. Whenever I always push off series, and then when I get to them, I binge the hell out of them. Like, I put, what is it? It's weird because I'm caught up, but I still always forget to pronounce it. Yozakura Family, like that one manga. I pushed that off for like a good year, and then finally got to it, and then just binged, you know, pretty much the whole manga up until current. So I'll get to Ghost Reaper Girl eventually, too. Watch Leo be a hybrid. Hybrid of what, though? Light Clover is seasonal. And had animation like Jujutsu Kaisen would surpass. Oh, I believe that too. The thing is, like, Black Clover has like so many like crazy, like flashy fights, forms, and just like badass action scenes that if you gave it animation like Jujutsu Kaisen, dude, it would be so much harder. Cause like think about where Black Clover has like a really active community from the anime standpoint. Not even talking about manga. Like the anime is actually really popular. And one of the things that has really helped Black Clover's position, I would assume, in like the magazine is like how well the anime does, like just general profits and, you know, gross sales and stuff. And like that's while the anime has had like wonky parts. Like everybody who watches Black Clover knows like the scenes where the animation looks a little silly. And just imagine that if it was like super crisp animation. Like, the Black Clover anime fan would be like 5 times bigger, if not more, and then the manga sales would be jumped way bigger. Because it's not like Black Clover's manga is boring. Like, it's almost, like, anytime, like, we're actually in events, like, it's fast-paced, Crazy stuff is always going on. We've always got hype on the back burner, waiting until it's ready to kind of actually show up. I mean, like Noelle, Ultimate Magic, Austin Union form. We just got this Devil showing up. There's always stuff that's being prepped and ready for the hype. So even when you're in the current hype, there's more hype on the way. Hey, King, see better spec. Oh, that's not me. I know that Juvia will fight Gray. I mean, Juvia is definitely gonna want to fight Gray. Because, like, the thing is, like, these, like, while they're controlled by Selene, it's not like they're normal. Like, they definitely aren't going to have that same thing of, like, their base personalities, at least in like, their common sense. If Juvia's level of, like, love for Gray was able to overcome the control, I'd be okay with that, because Juvia's is obviously, like, she actually cares about Gray. We already know all those details, but she does have that, like, borderline, like, a crazy obsession. So I feel like that being able to kind of like have glimpses coming through Selene's control could happen. But at the same time, just let them fight, because we know that neither of these guys are going to kill each other. I mean, like, Gray and Ansu are clearly smart enough not to do any big moves against them, not to like bust out stuff that's going to kill them. Let's see. Wait. Black Clover won't get canned if it was seasonal. I mean, the thing is, if they did it, like, if they did all the way up to, like, where I think Black Clover's anime needed to get in the first chunk in order to kind of pull people over, which I think was at least the dungeon arc, but I thought it was personally needs to get up to where, like, you have Yami versus Patri, like, Devil Cave arc. If they kind of just took that and compressed it to, like, a seasonal, like, a first season, and then just did the rest at, like, a normal pace, I think a seasonal Black Clover anime would work. It's really the thing with Black Clover, you think about where the beginning of the series is, and you see it animated, that needs to get, that it kind of needs to be at, because it's the same thing with Eden Zeroes. You can't do like a plain seasonal with Eden Zero. You couldn't do like, oh, we're gonna do 20 something. Like, if they did up to like 30 chapters, it would feel weird. Like, people want it to like go through Digitalis, but if like the first season ends with Digitalis, I don't think the anime, like, people aren't gonna be as hyped for season 2. You got to go through the Sun Jewels, so they're gonna have to go very fast paced. It's kind of like how the first, like, what was the first season of Fairy Tail went all the way through the Fighting Festival. Like, it went 130 chapters in the span of, I think, like 48 episodes. So they put in the work on that one. They rushed through a lot of content so you can get hyped for the idea of a second season. And that's the same thing I think would have had to happen with Black Clover. You would have had to get to a point where you end with like a big, like, juicy scene, like a big arc, like the cave arc, where you get to see Yami for the first time really fight. You get to see Asta come in clutch and then smack down Patri and mess with his whole like magic stockpiling thing going on. Let's see. Yeah, the thing about the seasonal animes, like, it's just like when you get like that really good animation, you draw in a general audience of like, oh, I want to see like something just that looks really nice, has a good soundtrack, fun characters, stuff. The only thing with like Black Clover's anime that like people ever like really talk about that much is the parts where the animation is like as good. If you had that out of the way, like, you wouldn't have to deal with like a lot of the annoying parts when people try and slander Black Clover. So is Moeller the most evil villain here created? No. I had to go through some lists, but he's definitely like, I mean, he's definitely like on there of like just the most grotesque of just as a bad guy. But I mean, Mishima's mainly a lot of the, like, Mishima can make like a bunch of those villains who are just like, you just hate their existence. Every time you see them on panel, you just are disgusted with them. Moeller is one of them. But also, just real quick, anybody, I really appreciate, we got 32 people in here. I'd really appreciate if you would thumbs up the stream, maybe retweet or like the post on Twitter, get more people in here to come chit chat and hang out. And in general, anybody who wants to donate, similar to what I mentioned with Anime Fan earlier, all donations are appreciated. They're not required at any point for the streams. They're pretty like, the way that I look at them, it's more like tips. It's more like, hey, we appreciate you having this ability to waste a good amount of time in a mildly entertaining way. Here's $1. That's more like how I look at it. Kind of like I'm just a dude on the street that's just talking to people, and I've got an open case. Someone's got a couple quarters they want to throw me. Thumbs up. But it's not required. Let's see, is RTL not going to read Eden Zero? I think he said that he's waiting until after. He's going to finish his Black Clover reread streams, and then he's going to do Eden Zero ones. I like JoJo, but sometimes I'm not impressed as the anime goes on. I've only read through 1 through 3. I want to get to 5 because I think Giorno looks really cool. But I don't know, like JoJo JoJo is kind of, to me, like the same vibe that I have with like the Legend of Zelda games, where like I never get hyped for Legend of Zelda games, but it's not like I don't like them. Like whenever I play a Zelda game, I have fun. I like them, but like I don't know. Whenever I see like a new one, I just don't get that, hyped. But every time I see like a good Kirby game, I get super hyped. I've always really liked Kirby. That's kind of like the same way, like I feel like about JoJo. And like I'll get to it eventually. I don't really have the drive to get to it, but when I get to it, I'll probably have a good time watching it. And you put the link to his stream when it starts. Yeah, I'll do that near the end. I gotta message him real quick. Let me message this guy real quick, because my plan is I want him to start his stream before I end my stream, so I can give the link, and then we can rush over there to continue it. Let me just tell this guy real quick. I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna tell you guys what I'm writing in this stream. So we gotta word it nicely. I'm gonna say I'm streaming now. Start your stream before I end mine, so I can send the what should we call her? But should we go with like? Let me ask you guys, should we go with like cavalry or horde or the masses? What should I refer to this this collection of people that are currently in this stream while telling him of what the plan is? Let me read through some of these before I get to answering that question. Herman is right. Wise is very cool. I like Wise too. Black Clover seasonal, they could definitely do it. It would really just depend on like how they plan it out. But like the current arc stuff is kind of like the more confusing stuff if they did seasonal, because the way that Tabata like writes out arcs, at least assuming he's gonna do this arc similar to how he set up the first, like what I would consider part 1 of Black Clover, is similar to how Mishima did the arcs leading up to Sirius Island. Is because similar to what Mishima did, the Black Clover arcs prior to the Elf Resurrection arc were their own arcs with components that led up to like a big climax, and that's what Mishima did with like Sirius Island and stuff. And so I wonder if he's planning on doing that with the whole Spade War, because like everything prior to, like, think about like the first part, you had like all the these battles, and then it ended with Yami getting captured, Laurel getting captured, the Golden Dawning Massacre, William being captured, and it was like it ended on that portion of the arc. And I would assume that's kind of like the first act of the Spade War. And then we're currently in Act 2, moving towards, whatever the next portion will be. But I think it would be kind of weird to do that in seasonal. I don't really know what their plan would be. I won't read Phantom Seer until I know it's safe from the axe. I think it is safe from the axe because the first manga sold really well. I think it sold out. So I think they're fine. So here's an idea for his next series to be a Royal Fantasy. I like that. I think my guess is it'll be similar to like it'll probably be very different because it's Hiroshima and he's not, like, he very rarely sticks to one genre. Like the idea of he does it more of like how like Oda does it or Shimabukuro does it, where it's like you have a theme, but it's like you look at like wizards and fairy tale, but like you have someone like Urza, she's pretty much just a magic knight. And then you see like all these other different styles, of people, and robots and stuff. So I'm guessing like his will be like, if he does some form of knight style, there'll be, I'm trying to think of whatever the Mishima weird kind of alteration of it would be. But I would like that idea where it's like knight themed. I think that'd be badass to have. That's one of those things, again, like people just generally like those, like knights, and like we get some dungeons and like kingdom warfare or something. Homura is the most important character. I really like Homura. I think Homura is to me one of the big selling characters for a series. Like there's always those characters, in my opinion, that if when you're gonna hype a series, like just try and get someone's attention without giving them spoilers or anything, maybe just show them a character that will get their attention enough. Like with Eden Zero, I usually would show people either Jin or Homura, because like those two are just really cool in general and very likable and fun. Asta's 4 swords, Noctis 4 devils, has different weapons. Yeah, pretty much. Black Clover, how Noelle and defeat, they're not arcane. Well, made Spirit of Zephyr, like, was it Lumiere said that, was it Lumiere? But either way, he said that he made a weapon that could hurt them with his spirit stuff. I don't know what Noelle's gonna do. That to me is more kind of confusing. But maybe what Noelle can do is she can kind of maybe like set it up to not kill, but it'll just be so much overwhelming, just force where it's like they can't fight back, and maybe set up for like someone like Asta to go in and get the killing blow. I don't really know, because like I said, like it's a really odd setup with what Tabata plans to do with Noel in regards to the Devils. Black Clover not popular to exist without the anime. I mean, a lot of series get super propped up when it comes to the animes, but I mean, like Black Clover's, even with its seasonal and like I said, parts where the animation is wonky, like it definitely still is really big. I feel like if it was seasonal or just it generally had better, more consistent animation, it would be so much more popular. I mean, yeah, with My Hero, the superheroes thing makes it so much more popular. I am though am perfectly fine with Black Clover not being as big as My Hero if it means keeping the the odd portions of the My Hero fan base in the West away from Black Clover. What do you think of the Spade Arc anime adaptation so far? Do you think they're adapting? Well, I mean, I've been pretty happy with it. I mean, we're still pretty early. To me, whenever it comes to stuff like that from a seasonal, I need to see the parts that I'm hyped about and see where they're at. Because there's like the parts where I'm generally hyped about, and then the parts that are, I think, way more plot and story-wise that are hyped about. Like right now, the scene that I will be upset with, the one scene that I'll be really upset with if they don't do it well, is when Yami tells Asta he needs him to defeat Dante, and Asta has that flashback to all these scenes with Yami, and then calls his sword and gets back on his feet. Like if they don't animate that scene well, I'll be pissed. Like that to me is the scene out of everything right now, everything from where the anime is at to where the manga is at right now. If they mess up that scene, I'll be furious. Because that is such a big scene in such a short span of time. It's going to be super emotional, too. Like, I expect a lot of people to get teary-eyed from it. So, like, I mean, just in the manga, like, imagine that scene from the manga. Like, when it happened in the manga, I was super emotional about it. And, like, if you could do that, plus the voice acting, plus, like, the music, and, have, like, those flash scenes, they're probably going to put OP1 on there. And then just have Asta get back up. I mean, if they mess that up, I'm be furious. Because that's one of those scenes that's just, it's so good by itself, and the anime should be able to hype it up so easily. Because it's not even like a big fight moment. It's way more of just like a very emotional, character-driven moment. You know what I mean? Let's see. Knocked is a douche. He asked that cute little demon to die with him. Well, I think that has to do with his ability. A lot of people think it has to do with his 9 lives, like, idea behind his cat. Which I'm okay with. Like, I don't know what it would do, though. Like, would he go back to somewhere? Or, like... I don't really know, because, like, if this was, like, say, like, in this setup, put it in other series, like Eden Zero, this would be, like, where Drac and Joe, shot Shiki and stuff, and then you had to have the time travel aspect to fix things, or, like in the Grand Magic games with Last Stages, but if Noct had, like, a time travel ability, like, to go back, like, some form of, like, what is it, like, that movie, what's that movie, Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow, or whatever, or like the dude from ReZero, or something like that. I feel like that would be too OP to have on him. And plus, I don't know if I'd like that just to see stuff redone, but if it was like if it was done in a way of like, we have to go after Morris, or this is the outcome that we'll run into, I'd be kind of fine with that, but at the same time, I don't know if I would really like that in Black Clover, just because it would be out of nowhere. It's not like it's not like over in like Eden Zero or Fairy Tail. It's like you have time people set up, and Black Clover's time guy, like we know Julius already used his setup little trump card of time fuckery. So if Noct did something like that, I don't know if I would really like it. It's one of those things that like it would depend on how it's handled, but like I don't know if Tabata would be able to do it well enough that like it would fit into the story. I don't know. My guess is maybe it'd be for him that maybe he can, like, set a location, and if he dies, he goes back to it instead. I don't really know. But at the same time, I don't think it's just like, hey, let's just die, let's just give up. I think it has to do with his ability, but, like, what is his ability going to be? And Black Clover, how Noel and Yuno defeat... Yeah, I don't know how that's going to happen. Yuno's is different because his he made a spirit weapon that can hurt the devils, but... Noel's is a big mystery. Been pleased so far with the Spade and anime. Yeah, I mean, it's been doing pretty well. Like, it's still weekly. Like, not every scene is going to be gold. As long as they get the good scenes and hype them up, we'll be good. I did top 5 anime episodes video for Black Clover. Season 1 through 3. I'm hoping season 4 will have a... Oh, did you? Like, go check that out then on this new video. Like, that's one of those things, like, just in general episodes. I mean, the early ones... I mean, what is it? Episode... Oh my god, is it episode 100? Is it episode? Isn't it episode 100 where they fought Licht? Like and Asta fought Licht. Because I'd probably pick that. I mean, that was that or when they beat Zagrid. Like that scene was so hype. I could watch that scene over and over. But it's just one of those badass anime scenes that it just never gets tiring of seeing Asta raise that sword up and the flashback when that Nero had with him. Like, that was just super hype. Need to stop Morris. Yeah, I'm gonna be screwed. I don't know why they're not like. They should have brought Goldry. Like, I know Josuke is likes to do memes with Goldry, but legitimately, if they had Goldry there, he stealths and he just walks there. They could easily have a way to detect him. Like, if they had something set up for it, sure. But I wish they brought him just for that. But Morris is complete and total wild card, and we know now that Noct did not know that he was going to be there. He did not anticipate. Morris to be part of this. And I don't think anybody anticipated Morris to be able to do what he's doing right now. Ever. I don't think anyone at all. If anybody did, kudos to you, man. Because Morris popping up in general in the Spade was a wild move. Like, I didn't think we would see him, when we did. The only thing that I predicted in terms of Morris is that he would be with the Spade. Because he's somebody that I believed that if it came down to it, he's fine switching sides. Like, he doesn't care about the Spade. He just cares about getting whatever his goal and benefits are as, crazy scientist man. What's most coming, Dr. Muller or Ceased Clown for one? Oh, Caesar Clown? Muller. Muller is definitely way more evil. Like, Caesar Clown is definitely a bad guy, like, experimenting on kids and stuff. But Muller was just live chopping up a child with a chainsaw, making his sister watch just for, for the extra levels of entertainment, and he seems to just really get a thrill off it, so he's definitely worse. By the way, the Witch Queen had noticed that she had a necklace. Oh, I have to go back and look at that. I did not notice that she had a necklace somewhere. You know what? Dialith, if you at me on Twitter, I can bring that up with, some of the other Black Clover guys, like J Cloud and, Broku, Josuke, Quan, RTL, and Jack Oates. I gotta remember Jack Oates, because, he's channels... I don't know when he started. I thought I was subscribed to him, and it was the last stream. I found out I wasn't, so I had to go sub to him. And he was under 100, so definitely go check out his channel too. But yeah, I can talk to them if you want. I didn't notice that. If so, solo stream. I got you, man. Don't worry, I read this. I don't really know how they're going to really do much to the Devils overall. If Yuno keeps progressing with his spirit stuff, it would make sense based off of what we already know that he did back during the Zagrid fight, him finding a cheat way to fight a devil. But Noel's is a mystery to me entirely. His final power up would be receive an official Spade Royal Grimoire. So I'm actually really curious about that in general, because Morris's Grimoire has a black diamond on it. So assuming that is the equivalent of a 4-leaf for this for this Clover Kingdom, are we gonna get equivalents for Heart and Spade? I don't think we've seen anything different for the Spade Grimoires. I'd have to go back and look, but it's one of those things that it was either very subtly laid out or not shown at all, because I don't think we had any grimoires outside of 4-leaf and 5-leaf that have been big hype just in the general emblem. We had stuff Julius's and Mars's weird Frankenstein stitched up one, but outside of just an equivalent to the 4, I don't think there's anything else that they have. And then there's that what is her name? Is it Mariella? One of the girls that's with Fonzel has a star grimoire. Let me look at that real quick. Let me get Fonzel by Clover, just because that's a really weird one in general. And I don't know what was going on with that in the anime, because I don't know. It's just, is it Dominante or is it Mariella? It's one of them. One of them has a really weird grimoire. Yeah, I think it's his wife, Dominante. Yeah, she's got a 6-star pointed star, a Star of David, on her grimoire, which again is really weird. I don't know if it was ever shown in the manga. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think she was ever shown with that in the manga. Either way, I don't know. It's a really weird setup. Do you think Arsenal will give base Jin a great fight? Because either I would assume so, but Jin kind of gets countered by by him. I don't really know what the plan would be. Main character flames, burn, fear itself. That'd be really weird to burn like fear. Like, because then if you like fought a guy, well, like wouldn't the guy like do better fighting him because he couldn't be afraid of him? I don't know. Let's see. When do you think Mars will show up? I'm guessing probably in the... if I had to guess, I'd say before chapter 300, just in general. Demon Slayer ended, no need for more bits. That's like the thing, though, is like I could do more, but like I don't really have anything I want to do for them. Has Magic Stone, no has the sea. As far as we know, the Sea God is just the hype, though. Like, it's not as far as we've seen like an actual Sea God. Muzan was such a letdown. I didn't really like Muzan. I liked Kokushibo. I really wish Kokushibo was set up as like the actual end villain. Lucy's current yokai power, her fight with Natsu. Do you think Gray to high diff? Do you think they can Gray to high def in a fight? I mean, probably around like medium difficulty, because the difference between like Gray and Natsu, against Lucy is that Gray's not gonna have nearly as much hesitation moments against Lucy. But also, he's just going to flash freeze her. Because Gray can just flash freeze somebody, and then it's not going to do, like, the damage, but it's going to, hacks KO him. Whereas, like, Natsu, if he flash evaporates all this fire, like, that's still fire. He can still burn Lucy up. So, I think that Gray would be able to handle this situation a lot easier. Whereas, like, you put Natsu against, this big Happy... I mean, he's just gonna... we already know that he's perfectly fine with punching Abby. And then he's just gonna punch Carla and Wendy now. Like, Lucy's a different case, because even though the Natsu doesn't show, like, a lot of his emotions towards Lucy. Like, we know that he's definitely got those affections from her. Like, we've seen the hints. We know what he's like. Grimoire is not required for magic. I mean, we know that. The Grimoire just makes him better. Zagreus had Word Soul Magic. Yeah, okay, they're just talking about, like, that setup. I already know how this works. Which power system do you like more, Black Clover or Jujutsu Kaisen? I like Black Clover's more. Jujutsu Kaisen sometimes gets a little confusing with some of their powers. I still don't really get how, what is it, now Bito, I think is his name, the head of the Zenin family. I still don't really get how his ability works with his weird, like, still frames. Wendy and Irene are key to spelling everyone. Yeah, because she should be able to separation enchantment everybody, I would assume. Noelle versus Torafuzer. And Torafuzer just going to slash the hell out of her. He's going to go right through the water. I don't really know what Noelle can do there, is the thing. Because the fact that he can, like, he's just going to nope through her armor. He can cut things that aren't, like, tangible as well. So he's got that hacks on top of it. And, I mean, his blades are just spammable, too. Like, we never got anything from him that are, like, big super attacks that were like his big trump card, but all his attacks were super casual for him, and he just could just dash him out like all over the place, which would really be rough for somebody like someone like Noelle, who's way more, that she has way more kind of just like set select spells. I mean, when Noelle comes back with ultimate magic or whatever her buff self will be, I mean, I would more than likely give it to her, but like speaking right now, I would say Torafuzer. Oh wait, sorry, I got Easel mixed up with Torafuzer. I mean, Torafuzer, he outright counters her. Like, not only, like, he's got, like, the poisonous water, but it's just, like, he can just set up the water. Noelle's not gonna think about that at all. The point where Noelle realizes it's too late. And he's got high defense, so he could just get the water out and go defensive, and then she dies. I don't know, I got mixed up with Easel. But, yeah, that's even worse. I don't know what the Tabata's plan is with Zora. I'm guessing Zora and Magna are just gonna, he's keeping them from whenever they pop up way more powerful to help in some form of dire situation. People saying Asta is going to come in and save the day. But power system-wise, Asta... So, I mean, Asta is going to be definitely more powerful when he shows up. I don't want him to just, like, show up and start soloing everything. That I don't want. I don't want Asta to be able just to kind of no-diff this double at the end of the chapter. I don't want Asta to just be able to no-diff either of these two high-ranking devils. I think he should be the key member and all that. He should be, in the front lines. But I don't think Asta should be at a point right now of being able just to kind of, crumble any of these devils. If it was the one that Marileona is fighting, or it's like a big devil, but we know it's not nearly as big as the, as the licked one. It's not really as evolved, and it doesn't seem nearly as, like, fast or, like, as dangerous. It just seems to be very big and powerful. It's got general magic attacks and stuff. But, like, that one I could see Asta defeating. These other ones, not yet. I could see Asta showing up and just kind of, like, crushing all these lower devils and stuff, but any of these higher ones, I don't think he should be able just to show up and defeat. Show up and be, like I said, key player, like, center member, sure, but definitely not like when Natsu showed up and beat Ikusa Tsunagi. That was a completely different setup of where that guy placed him, where we thought, like, the big characters would be in this arc, when it's like, oh no. That level is fodder compared to, like, where we're going. Asta coming at the end. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, he'll show up. I don't think he's going to show up at the, he's talking about the Ancient Devil, just the one that shows up at Clover. Yeah, that one I think Asta's going to probably jump to in, like, a chapter or so. Show up when, like, other characters are starting to get in, like, a dangerous position. Asta will arrive. Actually, it'd be really cool if, like, other brigades all kind of joined in first, and maybe members of the Black Bulls, and then Asta shows up. Or instead of it being, like, Asta shows up and then a bunch of other characters follow. Because with Zora and Magna, I kind of like the idea of them showing up a little bit further down the line. Just like how any other big character show up. Because Asta's is going to be obviously up soon. So we don't need to rush certain other ones. Because if this is just the first floor, we're going to need more characters, you know, in the waiting for when... for when Tabata wants to spring them in action. Thinking all Nero's planets have hidden weapons. I would... Yeah, let me drink some water real quick. I assume all his planets have that, because my assumption is he has them in place if in the event of someone tries to take them, he has like if I can't have my planet, I'm definitely not letting you have it, and then just, you know, as a self-destruct sequence, just prepared at all points. Rex, what's a new view on Attack on Titan Season 4? I mean, from what I've seen, because I don't watch the anime, I read the manga. From what I've seen, the animation looks fine. Even the CGI parts don't even look bad. I mean, if you're watching the scene in the moment, you're immersed in what's going on, you know, you're probably not going to really notice. If you just have the clip knowing that, like, hey, pay attention to this, or you're just watching, you know, a 30-second scene, you're gonna notice versus, you know, you're 15 minutes into the episode and stuff goes crazy. You know, you have this scene where the Titans move in CGI, but, like, their CGI looks fine. I don't know. I think people are pretty goofy at getting mad at that when you really can see, like, where bad CGI is. Like, you look at, like, what Berserk got. Are some of the filler scenes in Fairy Tail anime credible? Like Lullaby Demon destroying a mountain? No, like, some of them are. Definitely not that one, because for one, Lullaby was so much bigger than he should have been. And the Magic Council, like, their armies, like, not the Magic Council, like, the armies of Fiore showing up like that, like, all of a sudden, it's just like, and then they're just gonna leave. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, it made him look so weak and dumb. But in general, like, stuff like that, where it just kind of alters what the manga scene to such a degree, where they're just adding all these extra layers to it. Like, for one, making them mountain level at that early on, no way, absolutely not. Like, that made no sense to have, like, Natsu, Gray, like, Urza's different because, like, Urza doesn't really get, like, Urza doesn't start getting more powerful until at least Tower of Heaven when she's fighting Ikaruga, but there's no way that beginning of series Natsu and Gray were, like, just steamrolling a dude who can just casually blow up mountains. Absolutely not. It makes no sense. It's possible you never receive another Grimoire in Spade. I don't know. Like, that's a weird thing. I don't think... Do we have anybody in the series with 2 Grimoires? I don't think so, but I don't know if there's ever been a point where it's stated you can't have only one. I'd have to research more. I guess just ask J-Cloud or something. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things that I don't know if it's ever been stated. Because I know... Like, I know, like, One Piece, like, there was a thing about you can't have 2 devil fruits, and that's one of the mysteries around Blackbeard. But, like, I don't think there's anything in Black Clover that says, like, you can't have 2 grimoires. I don't really know, though, the exact statement on that. Maybe Tabata said something. I think Lucia from Rave had a worse life than Zeref. No! Zeref was way worse. Zeref kept getting close to, like, thinking he was going to have happiness in his life, and it kept getting destroyed and ripped away. Like, Zeref's is way more tragic. If I woke up Fairy Tail, I'd want to be a 2nd-gen Lava Dragon Slayer. I'm very curious to know, like, how difficult it is, like, locating a Dragon Slayer crew, because we know they're expensive. They're worth a lot of money. But as far as we know, we've never really seen, like, you know, someone go to the black market and be like, oh, this is worth X amount of money, and then, you know, whatever real-life equivalent that is. Or, like, the rarity of finding one in general. Because they're definitely out there. We don't even know where they come from. Like, did somebody makes them or what? They're one of those things that they're so back burner in the series. It's like we don't really need to know about them. But like we know they exist. It's got a dragon attribute. They're expensive. They don't have to have some grand origin of where they come from. It could have just literally been some dude. Some character has the dragon aspect and figured out, and then makes these rare lacrima, or maybe it's like part of a dragon corpse or whatever. I don't know. The fairy Clover, this horde slayers, heroes, heroes you can. I don't know. I kind of like horde. I feel like horde is just people are liking horde. Let me tell them. Let me say. I said start your stream before I end mine, so I can send the horde over there, and then I'm gonna say tell me before you tell me when you start, so I can post the link in my chat. Okay. It's funny because like I started this, like the first time I sent it was like 25 minutes ago, and then he was like talking about getting the stream started, and he's like, I was like, oh, I'm streaming now. He's like, is this an announcement or an invitation or anything? And I was just like, I got halfway through what I was trying to tell him, and it probably confused him. The bottom to confirm if the ancient devils are. I'm really curious to know about that, like just the general question about these guys. But it's one of those things that, like I said, it doesn't. We don't have to have some like crazy lore chapter. It could literally just be like, oh, this was like a method that the devils tried to like make originally to get bodies over here or something, or just connect to the biting ritual, because we know that if they fail biting ritual, like they become monsters. So it's just like, just do that. Because as far as I know, like wasn't that what happened with I think I can't remember exactly, because I remember J Cloud was talking about it recently, and like he knows, he's like for Black Clover what I am for Fairy Tail, so he knows a lot of stuff, and he's been able to locate a lot of like small pieces like that I can gloss over easily, because I'm a big Black Clover fan, but like my big dedication obviously is towards Fairy Tail. Like I still am a huge Black Clover guy though. I love the series, but I've got my magnified glass out looking for any small text or component in a Fairy Tail chapter that I can use. It would be like the dragons or the dragon slayers. I was just thinking of the dragon horde. Let me go to that chapter and see what exactly like what we referred to them as. I think she said dragon horde. That was chapter 3? Was that 316? This country tomorrow, or like the country headed, or like, oh my god, I can't remember. I get like some of the fan translation chapters whenever they originally came out so brand into my brain that I forget. So yeah, a future hurrying towards despair. I just remember it as like this country tomorrow when it initially came out. Let me see. What did she say? She said a stampede of more than of 10,000 dragons. So I call it the stream stampede, or like what should I refer to this as? Like, should we go with the stampede thing? I'll send the dragon stampede their way. Black Clover anime is making all the money, and not the manga. I mean, the manga still does well. Like the manga is still selling, usually around like 2 million volumes per year, which is still really good. Just because it's not in the top 10, or you have all these others like going off of like their crazy hype animation and stuff, and like the absurd push that like Jujutsu Kaisen and Kimetsu no Yaiba got. But it's like 2 million is still, like around 2 million is still really good. That's still millions and millions of dollars just off of the manga. It's too early for Mereoleona Asta to be Wizard King level. Mereoleona can definitely be Wizard King level. Are you serious? Like, she was already in between, like, she was at that center point between their other captains and Julius. Like, she was, like, dead in the center before then. So if she's, like, lower Wizard King level now, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't think she's prime Julius level or Lumiere level, but if, like, it's kind of like how you have the captains and you have Rill. Like, Rill is captain level, but he's very early still into captain level, where there's, like, all the other captains have been captains for years, and they're way further along their, their line of power progression and with their magics and stuff. Mereoleona could be kind of like that for the Wizard King level. Just, she just maybe recently broke the threshold at, like, what the bare minimum would be considered. Could be like the dragons or the dragon slayers. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, though. I want Sister Lee to defeat Boris. Okay, that's not gonna happen. If Black Clover ends, they can do an anime-only adaptation. I mean, Black Clover's not gonna end for a while. I never saw her fight though. Sister Lily, the Sister Lily stuff is funny, but I find it still very unlikely. Would you like more so far, Dark Triad or Diablos? I mean, I like the Diablos members more, obviously. I mean, like, the Dark Triad, I like them. Like, when it comes down to them, though, thinking about just their characters, I like Vonica and Xenon, but I'm not too keen on their, just from what we know so far. But obviously, like they're still pretty fresh. Like, we're at like 280. And for the most part, they've only been existent for like 40 chapters, and each of them have only had chunks. The only one that I really am like, consider, yeah, I really like this guy already is Dante, because I like Dante's personality, and I like the fact that when he gets into this kind of, you know, boxed in corner situation where he's, you know, I imagine for him, you know, embarrassing, upsetting, you know, just furious, or, you know, whatever he puts towards his, you know, his negative emotions. That's what motivates him into getting, like, serious. And I mentioned, he has, like, the opposite personality of Mark Gear, and I really like Mark Gear. Mark Gear was all about how he didn't want to show emotions, and how he thought emotions, like, kind of dirtied your mind and made you irrational and stuff. But, I mean, like, I really like Scullion. I already really like, and I like Kyria and Mad Mole, but, like, I'm not super on Mad Mole, but I like Mad Mole about as much as I like Xenon, except for obviously Xenon's cooler. But Mad Mole, I think, is just, I like Mad Mole's general design more. I like that he's got like this weird monk in a suit of armor kind of set to him. I really want to get more to him, because I was talking about someone recently about like the idea of those two groups fighting, and really, like, we don't know what the bigger hacks is for the Diablos trio. We haven't seen their Dragon Forces yet. We're just getting to now the 100% for the Dark Triad, and so they're going to be getting, like, feats and, like, showing their max power, and, like, the Diablos trio, like, we're not going to get them for a bit, but, like, Mad Mole has almost nothing, like, in terms of, like, his moveset. Like, he's just really durable. Like, he's got physical strength, and then that weird ability that he, like, turned water hard so he can stand on it or something when, you know, when Natsu got on that boat. But, like, I was laughing because, like, if you thought about the fights, like, I would assume Dante versus Scullion, you have the leaders, they're both really powerful in hacks already. Like, even with the small amount we've seen from the Dragon Eater trio, Scullion already has some really good hacks and some really good feats. And Kyria as well, like, they all have some decent feats. Like, Scullion, though, has that plus hacks. But the thing is, with Scullion, if, like, I assume you'd have Dante versus Scullion, you'd have Vonica versus Kyria, but Mad Mole versus Xenon would be like the most boring fight ever. Xenon would be throwing bones at him, and then Mad Mole would just be standing there, and they would kind of like pierce into him. They would attempt to, and they'd break, and then Mad Mole would probably go up to try and punch Xenon, but then Xenon would just teleport away, and their fight would just literally just be like, who's gonna run out of magic first? Who's pretty much gonna be on empty? And you have high level Dragon Slaying guy who can replenish his magic from eating armor, which I'm curious to know, like, what that extent is going to be really kind of be limited to. And then you have Xenon, who's got devil magic, like this giant magic of just general devil magic on top of his already, like, what I would assume is pretty strong level of just magic quantity. So their fight would just, it would just be like a dude stabbing a wall. Like, he's got a fork, and he's just trying to poke this wall. And it's not like he's chiseling at it, it's just literally just trying to continuously poke at this wall. Over and over and over. Like, Vonica and Kyria, there's a fight there. Scullion and Dante, there's a fight there. But it's just, like, the idea of Mad Mole and Xenon, it would be such a boring fight. But I feel like Xenon will get some, like, really cool new abilities and feats soon. But I'm like, I don't really know. Unless he gets some, like, really strong hacks, I don't know how he would get past Mad Mole. Because, like, fundamentally, Mad Mole is just kind of, like, a big counter to Xenon. And just like the way he works, like, obviously not a power counter, but more of just like a fighting style counter, and just like how their general fighting abilities are displayed. But man, Mad Mole is going to be the longest, I would assume, because on top of what I would consider, like, he's definitely going to have the lowest level, obviously, of offensive capabilities. Like, he's an armor dragon, he's all about defense, but he's also a little bit funnier. Like, he's got that funny comedic role of the group. He's not as goofy as some of the others. Like, when you look at like Kane Hikaru or Yosuke, or you know, like, look over even at Jacob. Like, he's a little bit closer to like Jacob Lezio, where he's silly at times, but he's way less silly. So I don't know. I don't know what Mishima's overall plan is going to be with him, but their fight is the one that I was just wish we would get more of, because when I imagine their fights, like Dante versus Scorpion would probably be really badass. And you know, these guys are throwing around like one-shot hacks abilities and stuff. And then Vonica and Kiria, you have these two like battle-hungry crazy chicks that are just absolutely probably going to be having a great time clashing with each other. And then you have Mad Mole and Xenon. You have this guy who doesn't talk a whole lot versus this dude who's very polite and who mostly stands there when he's fighting and doesn't have any like crazy, like Mad Mole hasn't shown any crazy abilities. Like so far he's just a tank that can hit really hard with raw physical strength. And so their fight would just be boring. But yeah, I just wanted to rant about that because I thought of that the other day and I thought that was actually really funny. He's blind and he's a nerd. Morris? I'm really curious on what Morris's magic will be. I'm so hoping brain magic. As much as I love Natsu's Urza fight, which makes sense with all the callbacks, if Juvia gets to Ellen tier, it's time for Jalal to say do save / come forth. I feel like the stuff with Juvia though, it's gotta happen. It'd be really weird if if we have like the ship stuff and then Juvia doesn't pop up. But I feel like I don't know. I assume it just based off like Celine can do it easily. Like Celine has 0 difficulties pulling these guys over. There's no moment of, oh, how are they gonna get there? Celine, if Celine wants, she can literally just look over like through a portal, grab her, and bring her over. I mean, I could easily be wrong. Like she could just not include Juvia, but I really like the idea of it being Juvia. I don't know. Thinking about it like in the hype moment, like I really want it to happen, but it's kind of like with Jalal, like it could easily not happen. Let's see. I want Sister Lily to defeat Morris. That's not gonna happen though. If Black Clover ends, I already read this. Let me see. Episode 102, Sister Lily is defeated by some random elf. I mean, like, I don't know. The Sister Lily stuff is always really weird, but like, it's one of those things that's just like we don't know what exactly like she's gonna even do anymore in this series. I kind of wish Tabata would address Sister Lily in some way or another, because she has a tie to Asta, like just in the base general, but because how is he gonna ever get with Noelle if he still has a thing for Sister Lily? But I don't know, the Sister Lily stuff like hasn't been addressed in so long. Which team would you like to see more of, Yuji and Toto versus Mahito or Asta and Yami? I mean, Asta and Yami versus Dante, like that's not even, that's so much more I'd rather see. Did you wait, bro, did you chapter 2 and I said Morris's Devil part? Yeah, I saw that, but I mean, like, oh, you're talking to somebody else. I was kind of confused. I'm like, that happened last week? What if Moscow's butt makes him muscular? Looks like Toto. I'm really hoping it makes him into a battle form or does something ridiculous. Maybe like some form of like he just gets all these weapons not died. It might end up in hell. I don't really know. Like, not dying, I'm very curious about. Like, what exactly his plan is with that. Like, what is his ability gonna do if he's got like some form of like, you know, Cat 9 Lives ability that a lot of people have predicted? Is Yami the one who killed Nox's family? There's no way that one. Just because like if that was happening, he'd be probably fine with letting Yami die. I think Nox Bro could be the final Shining General. That would again also be really weird. The 9 Lives, yeah, a lot of people have predicted that. Let's see. Thanks, Rax. I'm not on Twitter, though. Oh, I mean, if you want... well, that's probably a good idea, though, not going on Twitter. Say Jaga Fairy Tail tried to trap Gojo in a dimension. Gojo tried to trap him, and domain expansion get caught first. I mean, all he's really got to do is clap. And the thing about Satoru Gojo, the Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't really have much displays for speed. So, like, if you just put them in front of each other, or, like, just generally based off of, like, what we know, like, how fast a Spriggan should be, he should be perfectly fine clapping before Satoru decides to do anything. And transport is like his go-to move. Like if he hasn't decided to fight somebody 1v1, he's gonna use transport. Whereas domain expansion, Satoru has to go out of it. Like it takes a while to get him to be willing to do that, to actually like feel like he needs to. Let me see. I'm trying to speed up because I know I don't want to get too far behind on some of these. Rufus versus Rill. I mean, you put Rufus versus Rill, that's a bad combination. Like, Rill is going to get overwhelmed. Rufus can learn all of his spells. He can cancel out anything he does. He can combine spells he learns. Like, Rufus is one of those characters. If Rufus was higher level, Rufus and Rusty Rose are two characters. If they were higher level on the the pecking order of the series, they'd be so much more dangerous. Rufus especially, because Rufus can cancel out spells he learns. He can make people forget, so just, oh, sorry, can't use that anymore against me. Like, you're just way faster than him, that's all you really need to do. But, like, still, like it's only because he was, Grand Magic Games level at that point kind of people. Like, if I had to guess, he'd maybe be, like, close to Wizard Saint level, or, like, low Wizard Saint, like, near the bottom at that point. And then maybe a little bit higher up by Alvarez, but, I mean, at that point, it didn't really matter. Simba, why are you picking on people in the chat? I had to clear my throat again. Need some water. I think Xenon's going to end up a Skull Knight type character who might have the redemption as an odd, and might show up the other siblings seem to go. That would be... I don't think so. Like, after he massacred the Cult of Dawn, there's no way he's going to turn a new leaf. No, I don't think that. That'd be kind of like how they kind of just forgave... Like, no one seems to really, like, go at Vegeta for all, like, the bad stuff he did, but it's like, why? The dude was a mass murderer. I remember someone, like, trying to, like, compare God... Like, in certain aspects, Gajjo and Vegeta's story arcs are similar to a degree, but Gajjo was more of, like, a scumbag who had to earn his redemption, whereas, like, Vegeta seems pretty easily forgiven, and Gajjo's was, like, roughing people up, causing a lot of problems, but Vegeta was a mass murderer. Vegeta killed a lot of people, and then after, like, Naboo, when he went Majin, like, they seemed to not... They seemed to kind of brush that one over pretty easily. Demons tend to be depicted as primal or primordial, like Titans from Greek mythology. I mean, that depends on which mythology you go from. Black Clover got helped a lot of series ending, then the Act Age stuff made it more important. So I don't know where this is going. I miss this. I need Tabata to make a dragon. I also need to see a Tabata dragon, but I feel like he's gonna stick way more to the devils and stuff. Yami or Urza. Yami can't do anything against Urza. The thing about Urza that's really overlooked is when she fought she fought Ikaruga. Ikaruga's sword spatially cut stuff. It cut into the pocket dimensions that Sho made in his cards. So Urza already, even way back then in Tower of Heaven, her body through magic is able to withstand stuff that can cut through dimensions. So something like Dark Cloak Dimension Slash versus Urza, which just comes down to like the hacks aspect doesn't really matter in this. It's going to come down to stats. Like, if Yami had higher stats than hers, it's going through, but Yami is... Like, Urza has so much higher stats than Yami that it can hit, maybe it'll cut her, but it's not going to go through, it's not going to do that much damage. Like, Dimension Slash is maybe at best going to do to Urza what it did to what Ikaruga could do to her. Like, she's hitting her with a spatially cutting sword, and it's only doing, like, normal sword cuts. So, I mean, on top of that, Urza and Black Clover really... It doesn't really matter who it is. The second, like, she can just go into Nakagami, and then she just runs through them. She essentially is a absurdly more powerful Asta. Because she can dispel magic, cut through it, no problem, and then it's also a very fast, physical fighter. And her, Nakagami sword, like, actually, is it a sword? I don't really think it would consider a sword. It's more like a... Would it be a halberd? I don't know, but like her cleaving into a Black Clover character by the way that Monoskin works, essentially she would just be cutting through their Monoskin, because they have the Monoskin like as an outer layer of protection. It's it's kind of just a magic shell, but something similar to like what Asta does, what Urza do is like that second that blade touches you, that barrier is going away, and she's doing direct damage to you, and like. They're screwed. Like, Urza is a hard counter to Black Clover the second she puts on that armor. What do you think? Where would you... what order would you rank the groups of the three? The Dark Triad, Eye of the Minute Sun, Sun Elves, Eye of the Minute Sun, Salary... I mean, out of these ones, like, I really like the Dark Triad just in general. They do feel the same to me, in a similar manner as what, like, the Diablo's trio is, and how they're not the biggest people in their group, but they're like the front people of it. They are the ones we're gonna see the most, or the ones that have the most kind of like ties in the events. Because think about that similar to Diablos. Because there are some people lower than them, similar to like what we got with Wraith and Nibiru. But then like we have both Georg and the Black Dragon Slayer Knights that are above them. And just like how
the Dark Triad has people below them, like the Dark Disciples, and then these upper devils that are clearly above them. To what degree, we don't know, but they're definitely more powerful than them. The only one that is different is Dante, because he has Lucifero's magic, and Singularity is one of those hacks where if it lands on an upper devil, I would assume it would completely just wipe them out. Like, if they were generated somehow from Singularity, it'd be like, well, then how the fuck is anybody besides Asta going to kill them? Like, it would spell for too much of a bad spot for Black Clover. It's kind of like how, I'd consider it more of like how Arcane versus Devils, and not even like talking about like obviously like Dante with Singularity, like Dante's gravity magic should be, you know, in that same kind of category. I would assume it's Arcane considering it's from, it is from Lucifero. But like consider, like imagine if it, even if it wasn't Arcane, because I don't think it's stated, but I think we can easily assume that his gravity magic from the top devil is Arcane. But even if it wasn't, if you had a mini magic black hole hit them, as long as it took out whatever, like their heart, similar to like what we saw with Zagreus, the second it hits it, if it's erased, it's erased. I don't know how they would, like, if it's erased entirely for like into nothing, how would they come back from it? It's just one of those things. It's kind of like on One Piece, like you have Rio is like a general way how most people, like anybody who can master Rio can hurt someone like Kaido, but otherwise you have to have a specific power that can do internal damage. It's just one of those things. It's like, okay, Arcane is how generally is done, you use to do it, but if somebody is just such a good hacks, then they should be able to. You know, it'd be like if you had Langris do his big, you know, spatial swipe on Zagred's heart. It would have to be like the level of magic that Zagred is just kind of canceled it out. Like, just imagine it like it just like these two magic forces clash. Zagred's overpowers it at like a fundamental level of magic, or it'd just be like, well, how does he survive? Because otherwise it just should be erased. Because if it can erase it, like if it could just erase the magic, if Zagred had no way to defend it, wiped it out, how does he regenerate from nothing? I don't know. It's a weird thing, because I would assume it'd be kind of like Aeon Slash, where his heart would still be there, because it would have to come down to something like, oh, his level of magic is just way more powerful than like the level of magic of that one attack, and it's like a potency thing. What's going on, Guild Zero? How are you doing today? Do you like Hiromashima is bring Japanese mythologies and Elentier? I like that. I've always enjoyed the way I've always enjoyed any manga that kind of like spreads out their style without it just being one thing. I've always liked that about Mishima. I like that about Oda. I like that about Shimabukuro. I've always enjoyed that because it just gives it more of like a widespread feel, and it could be like anything can show up rather than like not a shot at Seven Deadly Sins for it, but it's like how Seven Deadly Sins is mostly set in like you know, in that European knights fantasy. So like I would imagine they're very like they have all the Nanashi from another country, kind of like what Yami is in Black Clover. How you have just like a character from somewhere else in the world, but their stuff is moreover going to focus on this kind of set genre. Whereas there's like something like Fairy Tail, you can have anything. Like you can have someone like, you know, Selena's this dragon who like her style apparently is all in this Japanese, like old style Japanese setting. Let me see though. Oh, that's not at me. Dante's 100% form looks more reformed, controlled than Dante's body. Well, Dante. The thing about Dante's 100% form, it's really not complete until he uses his body magic and becomes gigantic. Because like think about the gaps between Dante in his 80% prior to body magic buffing and then body magic buffing. I feel like Dante's whole setup is not complete until he gets to that point. Black Clover has Bigfoot. Nobody is talking about. Wait, what? It has Bigfoot? What are you talking about? Is there like a devil that looks like Bigfoot in the chapter? I didn't see it. Oh, this isn't me. Talking about Noel. You should join mines. I'm on your racks. You should have a cosplay group. Wait, cosplay? I've only cosplayed once. It wasn't even an anime character. What happened to Yami's 3 pets? I don't know. I forgot about them. I mean, those are kind of like in the back characters. I don't think anything is really going on with them. But those are one of those things. I would be surprised if Tabata decided to integrate them into like an actual point of the story rather than it just being, you know, small stuff on the side. That would make me sad if he just decided to kill them off or something. Have you ever thought about a maid character that can be an apocalyptic maiden? I mean, yeah, I've got my own ideas. Don't worry. I can't give away my secret, so I always got to be careful when it comes to like mentioning story stuff. Can Wraith from Diablo Soul Black Clover? I mean, they have no way of seeing him. he would just go in and he would just start wiping them out. I assume anybody who is like a spirit anybody who could see spirits so could see him, but like, is there anybody that could just see raw spirits? Like, even I don't think Reikis can see him. Because the thing about it is he's doing soul damage, but in the universe, only Dragon Slayers can see him, but I assume just more to like, as like a ghost. If somebody else is a spirit, they could see him, or somebody who could see spirits could see him. Kind of like how, Jacob could see things that are unseen and mess with things that are unseen. So he could mess with spirits and ghosts. That's why he could affect Mavis' spirit. Oh crap, I accidentally scrolled that way too far down. I expect somebody will give Berserker armor or a huge power up akin to Berserk soon. I mean, Asa's got he's got the Union form going on. Again, how big Undine is, she probably has passed down each Witch Queen style and grew big in a short time. Well, that's, yeah, I just what we've seen. I think the spirits, like, my guess is like the spirits, they grow from mana, from just generally amount from the user, but then maybe there's like a way to kind of like feed them mana, like XP almost. Speed equal Drac and Joe versus Xenon. Speed equal? Oh, speed equal, like, you're gonna have Drac and Joe just has to get in and touch him. Like, the second he grabs one of those bones, you're gonna see like that stone effect start racing towards Xenon. And the second he gets close to him, he's gonna turn him to stone. Drac and Joe is actually really broken just from the standpoint. He's like he's got an ability similar to like kind of like how Kisuke Urahara's Bankai is. We don't need some long description of all the things it can do, because we know what it works at a fundamental level. It's like reconstruction. He can reconstruct things into different ways. Like, he can make bodies stronger. He can reconstruct bodies to be weaker. He can fix wounds and just do general stuff with it. Whereas like Drac and Joe's is alchemy. He can convert things into other things. He's doing like science, but he's also got like the aspects to it that like he can mess with ether. He can turn raw energy. Like we saw, he made it was like the ether barrier on Eden Zero, he turned it into like explosive gas and blew out like a big hole in the barrier. And then he turned like the metal in the ship into paper. Like, he's busted. Like, his level of just general I almost said magic, but his ether gear just is hacks. I don't think Natsu and Urza are going to have a long fight. I'm hoping for, like, if I can get 2 chapters, I'm fine. I would like a 2-chapter fight. A chapter and a half I'm okay with. But I would like somewhat of a good fight. I don't think it needs to be like Urza versus Laxus level, where it's like all the way until like they collapse. But I would like it to be like a serious fight where you can just get some badass scenes, maybe get a couple moves from maybe from Natsu, and they get some like callbacks or something. I don't know. Actually, my biggest thing though is like in these fights, I want to see what the other characters' upgrades are. Because we've seen where Lucy's magic has advanced just being an Elentier, and like we've seen Wendy's is progressed, but we don't really know how much. Like we saw her kind of like figure out this conceptual enchantment and stuff, but to what degree are all their magics kind of extended out to is like the big thing. I'm hoping we can see at least something of before the end of this. Like we saw Lucy stuff with her key, like not needing her keys. If we can just get, even if it's just one way that their magics have advanced in Elentier during like this point in this cave, like I'll be pretty happy. I don't need the whole thing, but I just need something to kind of hold us over for now, because that's the big thing I've been waiting for. Just being an Elentier, I really want to know what their like what ways have their magics buffed up, and now they're hanging out in Onigatsuki, so it's just like, well, Mishima, you have a perfect opportunity to show it. Like, you're in a cave, like, there's all these monsters, like, there's no civilians around to kind of deal with. They're trying to get out anyway. They have to fight, the members of the cast that they're with. I need it. I need it to happen. Okay, I'm about caught up, which is good. Let's see. That's not at me. How Dante uses flesh magic, Monica, blood magic, and Lucifer, and Xeno does blood magic, created body of Lucifer. I've been calling that for a while. That was one of the reasons I thought, like, way back when we got Xenon's bone magic. When I still like that I was able to call that. Like, I haven't done a lot of Black Clover predictions lately, and I want to get back to it. But that was one of the big ones that I was very happy came true, of just like predicting blood, and I said flesh magic for Dante, but I mean flesh and body magic. It's like the same thing. Whereas the idea of them creating a body for Lucifero, but I mean that doesn't mean anything now because he can just come through. But if they cheat a way in order to have him through, to maybe make some form of proxy body for him, I'll be pretty happy. because then I can at least have that theory. Or if they can make something kind of like Aeon from Bleach, where they just make some big monster with their magics combined, I'd be pretty stoked. I already said it, spatial magic can penetrate monozones or get into people's bodies a few times to explain what... I mean, yeah, the thing of, like, just teleporting to stomachs, I feel like that's just, you know, gag feat. I don't expect that to ever come into play in a serious manner. I feel like Asta's swords will evolve abilities through Devil Union. I'm hoping that my thing is when Asta's next stage for his swords, like their power in general, I'm hoping he can absorb enough of the anti-magic out that they get like that, they turn back into the white form, like when Licht holds them. For abilities, or katana will suddenly have something new. What does this katana do? I don't remember what the demon slasher. Does it have a known ability? Ow! I accidentally poked myself in the eye. Luckily, I only got the corner of my eye, so I was like, I was rubbing like this part of my temple, just like on one side, just trying to get some of the hair out of my face, and it's jabbed myself in the eye. JK, just because of Panda, I want Tabata to make a Yami's. Oh, the 3 pets? I don't think he's gonna do anything with them on a serious note, though. Draken Joe versus Dante. I'd give it to Dante. I was thinking a similar thing with, like, Draken Joe being able to turn him to stone, but I think I was talking to Quan about it. They made a really good point where Dante can just kind of eject a part of his body off and then just grow it back. Because that's the thing. If he can get to Dante and turn him to stone before Dante has, like, a chance to do that, then yeah, you can just turn him to stone. But Dante has a set counter in order to, you know, deal with that in general, and we know that he's smart enough to do that. Not really gonna be in the dust. What do you mean? Just in general? I don't know what you're talking about, Sinbad. Honestly, so he can read his... that is true. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Like, if he's gonna be able to read, like, the pages of his grimoire. Because I always assume, like, just the grimoire... His grimoire is, like, set for each of the set pages is for his... swords. Kind of like how... It's just like, oh, it goes to the page, and that's where the sword is stored, and then it has just information on him. Maybe it'll be like he can read, like, aspects of the sword, kind of like how Licht could, like, link to people and absorb magic from them and then combine it into the sword. Maybe, like, stuff like that. Like, he'll be like, oh, this is an ability of the Demon Slayer sword I didn't know about. Now that he just hasn't been able to read. Let me scroll down. Again, I think body, bone, and flesh magic as healing abilities are pretty useful. Can't give him too much stuff, though. I have a theory Arena will get a new body. I mean, we've been calling that for a while. I was going to say me, but I'm like, other people have been saying that, too. Because I think she's going to have a part in this. They could get magic tools to help them get ultimate magic. Maybe they can train for something else. My hope of what Noelle's going to do. This is my theory on Noelle for ultimate magic. I do think she has Undine right now. And I think that I don't think she's going to keep Undine forever. I think she's going to temporarily have Undine. And she's going to be able to cheat away into getting ultimate magic faster. And then when she has that down and they rescue Loro, she can give Undine back to Loro. And then you could have maybe Charlotte with them. And like they can all team up against Vonica. You could have Charlotte use her modified Briars to pretty much temporarily like null the curse that Vonica has on her, and then you could have Undine Loro like back at like full power. You could have Charlotte, and you have Noelle, who has ultimate magic down. All three of them there, because assuming ultimate magic is gonna be set kind of like what Lick did, I don't think Noelle can do it by herself. Like she has like the mana like pool potential of having enough just of a general mana in her body that eventually I think she'll be able to do it by herself. But I don't think she'll be able to right now. But her with Loro, because we know Loro has a massive, gigantic pool of mana. So, like, if they combined and she was able to pretty much take magic from Loro and then just give her, use an ultimate spell, I think that would, to me, is the best way to set this up and to have the Vonica fight. Because the other devils, I don't really know what Tabata's big plans are with the other devils, but Vonica specifically, I do think needs to have a very set, focused, and emotional fight. Because, like, with Dante and Xenon's are different. And even though Xenon connects back to Yuno's backstory, I think Vonica's has been set way more into, like, a big climactic battle because of just the way that, like, other characters also tie into what Vonica's been doing. And then obviously, like, with Aesir and stuff, and now Vonica is interested in Noelle. Like, she has things for Loro and Charlotte, and all these people are not going to be cool with Megicula and Vonica. So we'll see how that goes. Because, like, with Xenon, I could see Xenon's maybe being like later down the line, same thing with Dante. But if any of them were gonna go down, I think like at the bottom one of the like take one of them down to build like the maybe a moment for the Clover, build some like good emotional, like, at least one area have a climax in like the plot of this before we get into more gates and stuff. I think it should be Vonica. Let's see. What if Viernes has a Aquarius new key and it's gold and shiny? I mean, maybe. I mean, that could work though. The stuff with Viernes, I'm so unsure about, just because the Viernes not even being really known by Mercephobia is weird. It's not like, oh man, that's so odd that I can't work. But it's just like, that's just weird that like this other dragon god has never even met him and or anything about him. But I think we're gonna get information from Celine, because Celine knowing about him would make sense. Demon Slasher doesn't have any have any real abilities. I think it's gonna have something, we just don't know it yet. Maybe. Hope the bot doesn't make Levi a side character. I mean, I'm fine with him being like, you know, Asta's companion. Not in like he's like a sidekick, because we know that Asta views him as an equal. But I don't expect him to kind of just like suddenly become a whole new plotline character who's got his own stuff going on. Because we know obviously like everything that he had prior to this. But I think that the way that he can work forward is, you know, being tied with Asta and, you know, maybe being like Asta's voice of reason or something. Because he's definitely smarter than Asta. And then just generally them communicating between each other. Kind of like how you have Natsu and Happy, or like Yugi and Atem. I would say like, was it Link and was it Navi? But definitely like not Navi levels of annoying or useless. Maybe Viernes is a nice dragon. So the thing is like with Mishima is he's made each of the dragons very different. Mercephobia was a reformed dragon who, you know, he used to be bad, but he's just trying to live a better life. He's trying to do better things and make up for all the like sins and atrocities that he's done. Alderaan was just about consumption and you know, his own progress. Ignia just wants battle and to burn stuff. Celine is all about just her own personal joy and fun and just entertainment. Viernes, I'm guessing, I'm really hoping Viernes is like crazy and emotionally scarred from Acnologia. Hawks is getting his own backstory. Yeah, that's next chapter. Somebody argued with me that Lax is just city level according to Wiki. I mean, Laxus, like, at the start, was like, Alvarez was dropping casual lightning nukes. And, like, think about, like, the amount of raw energy that would be in a mass of lightning that big. I'm sure, like, someone has to do the math, but not even counting, like, scaling of power level stuff. Like, the amount of just raw energy in that would be ridiculous. Let's see. I'm waiting for RT to start the stream. Maybe he did start. I said, okay, so he says, I'll get started stream. Okay. Let me message him real quick and just tell him, like, whenever he's got it going, just to give me the link. I'll post the link here, and then we'll move over there to his stream. As we said, we're the Dragon Stampede. Let me see. I'm saying, okay, send the post. As I say, post the link when it's up, and I'll bring over the Stampede. There we go. So yeah, so in a couple minutes, we'll go over there, and we'll continue this in there. So if we'll just as a small thing, we'll ask him about the Eden Zero stuff, so we can get confirmation about him when he plans to get it going. Monica's a girl. She just wants friends. Oh no, she's definitely crazy. Definitely crazy. Oh, I'd love it if Irene would actually join Freight. No, that's I don't know about that one happening. That would be a bit of a questionable. That'd be a bit of a questionable recruitment. She is crazy, and she's got a lot of dangerous stuff in the past. I mean, if it could work if like she has if she comes back and has a really good redemption story set between returning and then whenever that would happen. I don't really know if I would want her in the guild though. I kind of like the idea if Irene gets her body back, then I think she would instead maybe be like wander out in the world and become like a sage or something, kind of just do her own thing. Because it's like, if she joins the guild, what is she gonna do? Like, what exactly was her plan? I don't know. It'd be really weird just on the idea if she joined the guild. It'd be like if we knew Ferris was if we knew who Ferris was the second she joined the guild, it'd be like, well, what exactly is the plan with this chick? this crazy chick from another dimension, from like a weird magic nullification like religious group. I don't know. In fact, Dante is beating Jack up without using any spells. Yeah, he's just got the general pull around of his magic. But the thing about Jack though is Jack's whole thing is speed and then just like relentless attack. So like him being able to like bust up Jack, is it too crazy? Like, because Jack's whole, like if Jack can adapt to it, and Jack's not enough to fight him, then I am reading the chat. What do you mean? Solo stream though, like you've spammed like the same question like 30 times. Goers might hit on everything. That's a high possibility though. I've been reading the chat this whole time. Some comments though, like I see the same comment like 800 times, and sometimes people are not even talking to him; they're talking to other people. I mean, I don't know. Anka's already being taken by Megicula, so she's spoken for. I don't know if she's gonna be taken. She's probably gonna get rid of her the second it stops being useful. Probably would be scared of her. Yeah. Is there any other Black Bull members? I don't know if Gildart should be scared of her. I don't think so. Is there any other Black Bull members that we have not yet seen? I'm hoping there's not. I mean, we're good. We don't need any more surprise Black Bull people. Do not simp for Vonica. You can simp for fictional characters. Black Clover, how Noel and Yuno defeat Dark Triad, or they not Kane. Dude, I've answered that like 30 times. I don't know. Yuno has known he can hurt devils. We got that in the fight with Sagri. Are you happy? Do you have to ask me the same thing 80,000 times? Is there any other... I don't know why you posted that so many times, man. I'm not mad at you or anything, but it's just like, god damn, dude. Lucy or Julia's wife? I pick Lucy. That's no question. Jack is a commoner, making him a captain, so that is impressive. But his mana pool is really low. I mean, it's not. No, it's. I mean, it's not that it's not that. The thing about him though is the way his magic works at a fundamental level is that he's always adapting his swords and his blades to like his opponent. So, you know, when he goes at them to attack, if they have some form of special defense or some way to defend him, he can adapt to that and then keep going. I'm not mad. It was more of just like a momentary scene of frustration. But I mean, that's whatever after that point. I'm not mad at you, solo stream. Don't worry about it. It's just that's me more confused. Just wanted to mention Yozakura family to get more notoriety soon. Rex, how did you feel about the previous chapter? I really like the stuff going on with like them trying to get back the, like when they mentioned the previous head of the family, you know, their mother's corpse. I thought that was really interesting for the plot. To have that in there, and then just how the fights are starting out. I forget the girl. Was it Futaba, the oldest sister? Her going in. I'm hoping she doesn't no diff this fire chick, because I like the design, and I'm hoping that it's at least like maybe like a medium difficulty fight. Sinbad, are you looking at timed out, my guy? Let me see. Did okay? He sent me a link, so I will post the link right now in the chat, and I will go over there. All right, so we're gonna head over to this stream. Everyone, let's go over there. We'll start going to the chat. If you guys want to start asking Faith about maybe his plans on Eden Zero stream, we're gonna be doing a stream talking about character like protagonist motivations. Is my guy in here that I nominated? I nominated Laxus. Is Laxus in here? I'm gonna be mad if you didn't put him in here. That was my guy that I nominated. What? Where is he? You know what? This is some injustice. He didn't put Laxus in here. You know what? That's the better plan. Let's ask anybody who's going over there this whole stampede. We're gonna ask him where the hell Laxus is, because I was like the guy that I asked for in this. So he asked me all these characters, and I had one person I asked to be in there. Fucking Faith. That dude. He's 16. Where's Laxus? Does he have a... Like, oh my god. I am hurt. I can't believe he did this to me. We're gonna go over there and complain. We're gonna cause a ruckus. We're gonna cause some problems. Let me see what server he's in, because I'm gonna jump over there in a second, and then we'll work our way in there, and we'll cause some havoc. We'll cause some craziness in there, and then see what's going on. Let me see. Rex, do you know what beginning after end is? Isn't that a webtoon? We want Zora and Magna. I do too, though.
So I'm gonna end this stream. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna like I said, we're gonna cause a ruckus. Spam the chats. We're gonna ask them whatever questions you guys have for me. Continue them over there, and I will answer them in the chat. I'll just put that up there right now. So if there's any questions that you still have in this stream that you want to ask me, just go over there, ask them in the chat. If I don't know if I'll answer them in the actual voice, like in the stream itself, just because like everybody's gonna be talking. But I will answer them in the text chat. So I'll keep an eye on the text chat. I'll have that open. But other than that, thanks everyone for showing up. Thank you, Anime Fan, for the for the £5. I remembered. Or not for let me see. It's time to go for now. What amazing stream, Rex. Hope that you have a good day. Yeah, I hope you have a good day too. Bolum, let me see. Jack, ask me the Jack question again over in there. I'll answer it in the chat. Don't worry. Like I said, I'm gonna jump over there. What pizza do I like? If I had to pick a pizza, actually ask me in the chat over there because I actually have some questions. I was gonna answer that, but I actually have questions I want to ask on like the variables, like how many toppings I get. But yeah, thanks everyone for showing up this chat. We're gonna go over there. Any questions you have, just ask me over there, and we're gonna rough up his stream and stuff. We're gonna ask him where Laxus is and stuff. Don't worry, Bolo.